Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do that, let's talk about this week's tip. I get a lot of questions about how much is this worth, or where do you find a value for this, or how much is that worth, especially regarding fancy serial numbers and stuff like that. I do not hunt down fancy serial numbers to purchase. I prefer to find my fancy serial numbers, and those are the ones that I tend to keep. Now, every once in a while, if I find one that I think the price is okay on, I will pick it up, but I don't actively hunt them out. I also don't actively sell my notes. So, as far as market value on different things like that, I don't really have a specific price for fancy serial numbers. There's not a so called book for fancy serial numbers because, first and foremost, you're talking about the specific type of fancy number, and then you're talking about the condition of the bill. Now, I understand that there is only one note that has all ones on it, so condition shouldn't matter. That's my personal opinion on it, but that doesn't mean that that's what any given grader would also have to say about that. So when it comes to buying, or when it comes to selling or pricing fancy serial numbered notes, the best advice I can give is don't spend more than you're comfortable spending. If you like a particular series, or if you're trying to find a particular series of notes, then you have to decide how much you think that's worth to you. That's the bottom line. Nothing is worth anything unless you yourself put a value on it. So that's my tip for this week. When it comes to buying fancy serial numbers, pay what you're willing to pay for them. Don't assume that one note is worth $1,000 because somebody said so. Pay what you are comfortable paying for the note. All right, I'm going to get these out of the way. Let's take a look and see what I found this week. Did find a Where's George. It's a stamp that I recall seeing before, so I probably have dealt with this particular person before. That's great. I'm always excited to find Where's George notes. I'll check that out and see where that one's been. Did find an alternator. This one has 0 as the alternator, so you've got 08, 05, 02, 07. Did find some trinaries. This is 1s, 8s, and 4s. Good bill. That's nice and crisp. Same with this one. 0s, 2s, and 5s on this one. Another crisp note, 0s, 7s, and 9s. And this one is 1s, 2s, and 8s. Still a crisp note, too. Lots of crisp notes. Let's see. This one threw me for a second. It's just a trinary, 4s, 6s, and 9s. At a glance, it looks like it could be an alternator, and then the end ruins that. It looks like 4 is the alternator until you get to 6 at the end. It looks like it's a repeater at first as well. You've got 946, 49, so I mean that's a mini radar. But nope, just a trinary. 4s, 6s, and 9s on that particular one. Did find quads, quad 2s on this one. Quad 9s with a 5th 9 as well. Quad 4s with a 5th. And a 5 of a kind. 5 zeros in a row. 5 zeros, you really want to see that at the front. At the front would be the best place for that, because then you've got a serial number with only 3 digits. The next best place, of course, would be as the trailer. This one, it's on a J note, Kansas City. You don't see a lot of J notes, so I was excited to see that one. This one is quads. You've got quad zeros in the middle. It's not a radar. It's not a repeater, but it is bookends. You've got 16 on the ends with all zeros in the middle. I don't recall pulling anything like this before. I'm not saying that I haven't. I just don't see a whole lot like this, that's for sure. But that would be a good example of bookends, where you've got the 16 on the end and all the numbers in the middle are all the same. Did find some stars. 2013 star note there. Another 2013, much better shape. This one's really good. 2013 again. Another really good 2013, St. Louis. Circulated there. Did find some older notes. This one is 1999. 1995, if I recall. Yep, 1995. Another 1995, a little bit better shape. And the oldest note in the group, this one is from 1985. 1985 $1 bill. Does have some writing on it. Bill is kind of limp. Probably not going to be a keeper. Probably not an upgrade. But I found it, so I pulled it, and I wanted to make sure I showed it. So that's what I found this week in my $1,000 strap search. So what did I pull out? Well, I finally got one, so I'm going to bring this one out. This is my 1886 $1 silver certificate. It is my Martha Washington note. Martha Washington silver certificate from 1886. And the sun just came out, so I'm getting all kinds of glare. So we'll take a quick peek at this one here. Silver certificate from 1886 featuring Martha Washington. Now, you know it's a silver certificate because, first and foremost, it says $1 silver on it. $1 silver on that silver certificate. And you'll also notice that the serial numbers are in blue. So the blue serial number, that also shows that it's a silver certificate. This is one of the large seal notes. I mean, the size of this seal is just huge. They made two different size seals, and they made two different colors. There's a large seal and a smaller seal, and they made a red seal and a brown seal. This one is the red seal. You can see right down here is where you've got the series of 1886. Checking that out. Not in the greatest of shape, but these get up there, and considering it's the first time that you have a named woman on a bill, Martha Washington, it's a note that you probably should have in your collection. Now, I know mine, like I said, isn't in the greatest of shape, but these do get relatively expensive relatively quick. So my goal was to have one that didn't have anything written on it for the most part, and that you could make out the features on, and that was pretty much it, because I didn't want to spend many hundreds of dollars on one of these particular notes. Take a look at the back here. United States silver certificate. The certificate is receivable for customs, taxes, and public dues, and when so received may be reissued. Reissued, that's the important thing. That means that it's not a check. It's definitely a note to be circulated, and this one most certainly was. Let's take a look at what the book has to say about the 1886 Martha Washington. Take a peek right here. There it is. That's what it really looks like. You can see the large red seal on that particular one. Let's see. If I remember right, this one is number 218. With Rosecrans and Houston. It has the large red seal. You can see even in fairly rough shape like mine is, it's $225. If to get a 12, you're talking $350. Even a 20 is $550. When you start getting into some of the primo notes, you're looking easily $1,200 to all the way up to $5,500 for a Gem Perfect one. But yeah, when you're talking $225 as a VG8, that's one of the more expensive notes. I mean, that's a tougher note to get. Now, I said in the past that when I get a note, if I have the facsimile, I will also bring out the facsimile. That is the facsimile. You can see everything a lot better on this particular one. This one has the small seal versus the large seal on this particular note here. Big difference in size there. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that you guys know that when you see this note, yes, I do have the real deal locked away in my safety deposit box, but it's just so much better for me to handle these. So that is my 1886 $1 silver certificate featuring Martha Washington. And this one's going to go back in my safety deposit box now. If you guys learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. I love reading all your comments, and I'll see you guys next week.